Today, we're going to hear about the challenges and gaps in protecting our nation's transportation systems and critical infrastructure from cyber attacks and recommendations on how to close those gaps from private industry and cybersecurity experts. Notably, this hearing is largely being conducted online, demonstrating how much we all rely on cyber systems to carry out our basic day-to-day tasks, particularly in the era of COVID. And even with dedicated and superb IT support, lots of experience, getting everything right 100% of the time is tough. Well, with the House system, it's not even close to that. But anyway, we won't go into that. But when it comes to the nation's critical infrastructure and transportation networks, pipelines that fuel our economy, water and wastewater treatment plants, shipping, aviation, railroads, highways that play a critical role in bringing vital supplies to all Americans, getting everything right every time must be the goal. Lives are on the line, and each day when you turn on a faucet, flush your toilet, or when you board a plane, fill up your car with gas, you trust these systems will work. But that trust has been shaken in recent years. We've seen headlines about blows to the nation's economy from ransomware attacks by criminal networks on critical infrastructure and close calls where individual hackers have tried to go after wastewater systems. By the way, many of them use massive amounts of chlorine. If they can valve that chlorine into the air, they're going to kill a lot of people and otherwise infiltrate our drinking water systems. The cyber threats and vulnerabilities diverse, expanding, constantly evolving, and have the potential to impact everyone. Yet an estimated 85% nation's critical infrastructure is in private hands, owned and operated by private entities. And too often leaders whose organizations are at risk from cyber attacks weigh the risk of attack against the cost of increasing cybersecurity protections, and they decide to roll the dice. Hey, it might hurt the stock price if we actually spend a little money on an updated IT system or a better cybersecurity, and hey, that will hurt my annual bonus. So let's skate and hope we get away with it. They're betting they won't get attacked. The good news is even basic steps like mandating strong passwords, pathetic, and multi-factor authentication, cybersecurity awareness training, and regularly practicing simple cybersecurity exercises, things that cost virtually nothing and are common sense, can significantly harden cyber defenses, dramatically diminish a company, utility, or federal agency's chances that they will fall victim to a successful attack. Unfortunately, recent surveys have shown that too many public and private entities don't take these simple steps. Recent survey of the transit sector, 39% of those surveyed have zero staff dedicated to cybersecurity, and more than 24% provide no cybersecurity training to their staff at all. Many of them are using the password on the device when they got it. They don't, just crazy stuff. This doesn't cost anything. The water sector is even worse. Survey published in June of this year, 42% of water and wastewater utilities surveyed say they conduct zero cybersecurity training for their staff, and more than 68% of them said they do not participate in any cybersecurity-related drills or exercises. Many experts believe we don't have a full and transparent picture of the cybersecurity threats that confront us, impeding our ability to quantify the risks, learn about lessons from past attacks. Reporting cyber breaches, yeah, it can hurt your financial bottom line for a little bit, overall, in the end, you're going to benefit, your stockholders are going to benefit, the American people are going to benefit if you put these protections in place. The FBI has estimated 15% of cyber crimes are actually reported, 15% to the government. Recent survey of transit sector, more than 30% of those surveyed said they had been the victim of a cybersecurity incident, but they never reported the incident to anybody. With the public safety and national economic security of the United States at stake, it may be time for voluntary steps by the private sector to give way to mandatory federal reporting requirements. In 2013, NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, in consultation with industry, academia, and government, created a cybersecurity risk management framework. Since 2017, the framework has been mandatory for federal agencies, but it hasn't eliminated all the problems, something that we will explore more at a future hearing. In the private sector, however, use of the NIST framework remains voluntary and used unevenly. NIST estimated that in 2020, only 50% of private companies were even trying to reach NIST cybersecurity minimum standards. The Biden administration has finally begun to change things. In May 2021, the President issued Executive Order 14028 to encourage critical infrastructure companies to, quote, follow the federal government's lead and take ambitious measures to augment and align cybersecurity investments with the goal of minimizing future incidents. In June of this year, DHS's Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency issued guidance that addresses complex networked IT, operating technology, or OT systems, and helps to establish standards for preparing and responding to cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure. They also issued a national security memorandum that called for creation of cyber performance goals, including establishing baseline cybersecurity performance standards consistent across all critical infrastructure sectors. Just this summer, with the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack, the Transportation Security Administration abandoned voluntary compliance. They had already offered to do a full audit of cybersecurity for Colonial Pipeline. Colonial Pipeline wouldn't have cost them anything. They didn't want to do that because they didn't want to know what their problems were. Well, it cost them a lot of money. And they could have had an evaluation and perhaps closed the door before the ransomware attack. So the TSA has abandoned voluntary compliance for pipelines altogether, issuing a directive mandating specific protections to defend against ransomware, along with cybersecurity contingency and recovery plans. TSA is reportedly preparing similar directives for other critical infrastructure sectors, including rail and aviation. So we have an administration that's moving in the right direction. We need to do more. No single technology, policy, or other action will completely eliminate all cyber threats, but every step can help close the gaps and make success for cyber criminals and cyber terrorists harder. I look forward to hearing our witnesses' ideas about how we can do that. You've been in the trenches of the silent cyber conflict that goes on every day in our critical infrastructure sectors, and you all have ideas on how government, private industry, or both working together can increase our nation's cyber resilience to protect our critical infrastructure and public to recover from cyber attacks when they do, and despite our best efforts. So thanks to our witnesses for joining to us, and I will turn now to the ranking member, Mr. Crawford, for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.